Welcome to the Matrix Decoded podcast, where we help you navigate your professional journey with insights from industry leaders. I am Akriti Bassi, and today we're thrilled to introduce Ms. Deepti Berry, a distinguished finance leader with a wealth of expertise amongst sectors like retail, media, fintech, and IT. Ms. Deepti Berry's story is nothing short of an inspiration. She has finished her bachelor's from SRCC, pursued CA and IFRS ACCA from the UK, and has had a foundational training from PwC. Over 2 decades, Ms. Deepti Berry has held a range of leadership positions, including Chief Financial Officer and Commercial Leader at organizations like Sheroes, American Swan, Kmart Asia, EXL Services, and Apollo Health. Her expertise spans across various finance and strategic functions, including handling M&A transactions, risk management, and process automation. 6 years ago, Ms. Deepti Berry embarked on her entrepreneurial journey by founding Bizwise Advisors. This venture helps businesses by providing tailored solutions and helps them in raising and managing funds, growing, enhancing efficiency, and dealing with financial complexities. Ms. Berry is also a staunch proponent for women in the business. She helps them through her initiative Bizwise Will. So to all the college students tuning in today, sit back and enjoy as we delve into the career and insights of Ms. Berry. Welcome, ma'am. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Akriti, and I also am looking forward to this conversation.
So I figured we'll start from the very basic. We'll start from where you journey started your time at SRCC. How was that experience for you?
So Akriti, really, SRCC, I treat that as the foundation of my career in finance. SRCC gets some of the best and the brightest brains in India. So when you're there, you're actually part of that ecosystem, and all the students around you, because they are very competitive, they also are the best. You learn a lot from each other. So I think that competition itself in SRCC makes you more humble and also inculcates the value of hard work. I must say that SRCC students and geeks are like the human version of comic relief. They were quirky, hilarious. We had a very interesting time at SRCC and we learned a lot.
I can totally agree with you because that's how it is like for me at SRCC. Moving on, you chose to pursue CA. Why did you choose to pursue CA, and how was your journey through that?
So, CA back then was considered one of the topmost degrees in finance, and I wanted to have a professional degree to give a head start to my career. So I think that's one of the big reasons which CA came into my mind. CA also, just similar to a medical profession, has a very inbuilt apprenticeship or an articleship format. So by the time you are ready to take on your serious career, you have also got trained on the job.
Yeah.
So I'm a great believer of that, and that's why this profession is something which excited me.
So where did you do your articleship from, and how was your 20s period? Because that's where most of our audience is from.
So this is interesting. I could manage to get through Big Four, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I started doing my articleship over there. I was in audit initially, and then I moved to financial advisory services, which is the mergers and acquisitions and deals side of the business. My 20s, you're by the time you do your CA, you're 23, and then obviously my parents wanted me to get married. My husband, interestingly, is also from Pricewaterhouse. We were together, studying together at that time, and I got married. I would say by today's times, pretty early. I was married at 25. Let's say my relationship and marriage and my start of my career both were happening together at the same time. So that's how my 20s looked like.
So how did you balance?
Relationships, the timing of your relationships and marriage and career, your start of your career, they all somehow happen together.
Yeah.
So it's like 22, 23 to 27, 28 or maybe 30. That's the time when all of this comes together. So really, nobody needs to pick one over the other, right? both all these things will go simultaneously in your life, and you will on your own find that balance. The most important thing is that invest in relationship to find the right spouse for yourself. It's the most important decision for your life. That important balance or relationship is going to fundamentally define how you can also shape up your life, whether you get adequate support or not from your spouse, whether your spouse understands what you do. So in my case, the biggest fundamental strength that came in was because, and maybe because my spouse was from the same profession, he supported me through, and he understood that our profession requires this, sometimes long hours, sometimes travel. So he was there around for all this. As much as I was supporting him, he was supporting me. So that's how my career progressed. So you've got to invest in a good relationship and have the right people in your life to support you.
That sounds great, because even though we're in 2025 now, there's so much, like in smaller towns, there's still that thing that girls should get married by 25. So your story is really inspiring. But
Right. So if I had a choice and I was in today's world, I could have probably extended this to 30. But I mean, but when you find the right person, then every time is right.
Yeah.
This is how I believe it. So if you haven't found the right person, you can continue your journey to find the right person.
Yeah.
It's not hard and fast 25 or 30 grand.
So you found your footing in corporate, you had amazing leadership positions. What made you want to leave all of that and start your own venture?
So no experience in your life is waste. The 20 years that I spent in various corporates, I did diverse work, and I was fortunate to be also getting that opportunity. And I was also one person who would stand up and say that I want this opportunity because it is a little harder, it is challenging, I want to take this new thing up, right? And what that meant was that my foundation comprised of a lot of things that I did.
Yeah.
Right now, once I had done that, I think there was an inner calling, how I want to be, driving my own thing, as well as how I can be more impactful on my own. Now my treasure search that I started, and I said, okay, there was a structure to my earlier work, and now I want to build something of my own, and that's how I started. There is an interesting quote. If you all have read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, right? He says that you've got to find your treasure so that everything that you've learned along the way makes sense. So that's where all the things that I've learned, I've put them together, and that's how I intend to help businesses grow, help businesses scale, help startup, help in multiple ways, and bring all my practical experience in the form of advising and consulting businesses.
So what gaps were you trying to fulfill through BizWise?
Akriti, what happens is that in my experience I've seen all businesses are very different. Their challenges are different. They're not one size fits all solution. We decided that we are going to not play a typical consulting role or a Gyan role that consulting and advisory firms do. We want to step in as somebody on the side of the business, handhold businesses to solve their critical problems, be it in fundraise, M&A, automation, laying down the processes, audit support, any kind of services that we render are actually we are trying to handhold our customers to solve the problem. One of our bigger focus is also women startups and women businesses which are looking for the next leap of growth in their business. That's where we also step in. That is another area where we.
That's very interesting actually, because women's is just around the corner. So how exactly does BizWise help you?
Akriti, I have had a privilege of working with a lot of women founders, women in leadership roles also. What I find is that, while there are women who have, been able to independently do their bit, navigate their way and rise up, a lot of women out there actually, kind of need support in terms of how to navigate it. So, which means that when they decide on doing something, they could be good at product, and their idea could be terrific, but at the same time, the whole ecosystem is required. Like they need to look into finance, marketing, business development, technology. So how do you do that? All of that, as that can be very exhausting, and it can take away your focus from what you were starting to build to navigating some of the other things. That's where we step in. So we've created a network and an ecosystem of specialists, organizations where we step in and help them in the areas where they require help. So they may not need a full-fledged marketing team, they may not need a full-fledged technology team in-house or a finance team in-house. We help that build that ecosystem. We also help them with coaching and mentoring. So this is the stack that we provide to women entrepreneurs in particular.
That's very interesting, ma'am. So we at LSR are all very ambitious women, and so many of us want to get into finance. So how can us as aspiring finance professionals develop a strong problem-solving approach?
Okay, so if you want to be somebody really rock star in finance, strategy, problem solving, I think it's important that we understand the value of a few subjects, because you're just developing your skills and strengths in terms of core subjects. So I think at your stage and age, you need to focus on math, you need to focus on statistics, economics, business affairs, and you got to data science. These are the areas where you actually focus on, so that you can strengthen some of your aptitude towards towards problem solving. When you read a newspaper, try to relate what you study in your curriculum to business news, to what's happening in economies across the world, and how each economy is enabling or obstructing the other economy's growth. So what you need to do is you need to put your core curriculum to application, and that while you're studying, you will continue to do it. You will be able to put a problem solving approach to how you look at various problems. While most of the things you learn on the job, there are plenty of online courses, YouTube tutorials that are available, and those will help you understand how the process of working on the job or problem solving works. And my suggestion to everyone also is don't worry about the paycheck. If you get to do free internships or free apprenticeships with people, please go ahead and do it, because that's going to be the most valuable experience for you guys.
Money comes in.
Yes, it will follow. There is no doubt of it.
Speaking of what's happening in the world around us, AI is the buzzword right now. Everyone's talking about it. So how do you think is AI going to impact finance?
AI is in very nascent stage right now, but typically automation, we've seen a lot of it, and a lot more will happen. Nothing, I believe, in my view, is going to happen to jobs per se. The only thing that I see is that the more mundane and repetitive tasks will be handled by your system, a personal assistant, so they're going to do more mundane work for you. There will come a time when you can put higher creativity, higher critical thinking, higher problem solving, reading the data, analyzing the data, forecasting, planning. That's where areas where you're going to spend more time, rather than working on doing the crunching work, which can be better done by systems and saves your time on that aspect. So that, I think, is a change that will happen. It will only enable you more, right? We were doing that work ourselves, and we would spend multiple hours doing it, but you will be able to get that done out, and you will be focusing on more higher order thinking and analytics work.
Speaking of technology, we have so much data available today. It's almost noisy. So how do you filter through the noise, and what indicators do you personally look at while you're researching?
So Akriti, I'll tell you what, when you'll go to various companies, you will work over there, you will see and learn for yourself. But all industries are different, and therefore it's very hard for me to give you an answer saying, okay, these are the indicators for the indicators and the metrics for each company is going to be different, or each industry is going to be different. Now, here I would say that there is there are a few fundamental 2-3 things which I want to tell all the audience as they approach their job season or interviews and all. The most critical thing for any organization is sales or revenue, right? Now, what are the metrics that are going to drive the revenue? Which of the P's like price, people, place, promotion, what is going to drive? That is one of the important metric that an organization looks into, and anything or any metric that leads to higher revenue is going to be a critical metric for you to think, right? Then if we look at the organization at large, right, be it marketing, technology, administration, human resources, what are the things that are required to support this revenue objective that the company does sales growth. So that is where you take decisions of where your operating and capital expenditures are going to be, and you invest your money in those areas. Like, do you need to build assets, physical assets, or human resources as assets, or marketing assets? What do you want to build so that your revenue goes up? So this is another important metric that you will, and each company will, your organization and industry will see. I think one of the very important things that because we look at corporations, right? The profit is the highest motive for anybody to start a business or do a business. Now, the most fundamental part of profit is unit economics. You've got to look at the unit economics of each product, customer, factory, everything runs on unit economics. So you need to see that how profitable are you at unit economics. Once you set that out, then how do you scale so all your overall organization, whatever goal you have set for that organization, 15%, 20%, 30%, how do you generate that overall profitability once you've sorted your unit economics? So these, to my mind, are 2-3 very critical things that, irrespective of the industry, you've got to focus on.
I'm having such a great time talking to you, but I think all good things come to an end. So I have a final question for you, ma'am. What technical and analytical skills can college students like me develop for an entry into finance or consulting?
I think in the process like that you are studying now, you've got to give a lot of focus on math, statistics, data science, analytics. Read a lot about various industries, how their revenues, supply chains, backends, how those work and how those put together. You will get an edge on in terms of how businesses operate, or what you're going to do in finance is actually going to get driven from that. Learn Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and coding. And some of these tools will come handy when you've got to do your work. AI is going to solve some of your things, but once you know these things, and once you know about the industry, and you've done your pattern reading, statistics, other things well, I think you are sort of having a good foundation to move ahead in life.
Those are some great skills you've mentioned, ma'am. Thank you so much for having this discussion with us. It's been so insightful, and I'm sure it's been insightful for every single person who's watching this right now, especially women. Also, Women's Day is just around the corner, and it's so important to realize that women aren't limited to any one particular field. There's no limit. We can, reach the sky. So thank you so much. It's been a great time.
Thank you so much, Akriti, for having me, and I'm really grateful for Matrix Decoded to invite me. And I wish all the women at LSR all the very best for their careers. Once you step out, your alumni are really great. You will be proud of yourself when you look back. And all the very best to all of you. And happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much for watching the first episode of Matrix Decoded, and a happy Women's Day.